Okay, so our first topic, because that's what we do on our show, we talk about a variety of topics. And the first one is, should students give teachers holiday gifts? Most people don't think so. So what do you all think about that?
I thought it was an interesting article, and you know me, statistics, facts. When I read the article, it talked about Alabama banning the students from giving teachers gifts, and this happened in 2011. And I guess, you know, some controversy arose, so they made an amendment, and they made a maximum of $25 as the amount that could be spent. And then, of course, they did the survey with 1,000 people, and the majority of the people said, you know, it's a nice gesture to give gifts, but you don't necessarily have to do it. We know it's not a necessity, but it's nice.
It is very nice.
But this is one thing I have to say about the survey. Towards the end of the article, they show the percentage of people who actually have school-age children. And so 74%, if I remember correctly, don't have children in school. So it's not something that's relevant to them. So I think that if more people, parents who have school-age children, took the survey, it would be more adequate.
You're right, because if you're a parent and you're hearing the positive things about your child's teacher all day long coming from the child, you would want to show your appreciation. But if you don't have that perspective because you don't have children, you really can't chime in.
Right, and I mean, it's not like we expect anything from them. We never expect that, but it's nice whenever they show that they honor us and they value what we bring to them every day, even a card or something they've made.
I love handwritten
You know,
notes.
it's just so special. So, and I have cards that I've gotten from my first year of teaching 6 years ago that I still treasure and hold on to. It's kind of the reason why we're in the field, you know.
To make those connections, those relationships that we develop.
It's kind of sad that it's even a question, because that's just something you do to show appreciation. That's
Well, you know, as teachers, we already receive too much.
that receive too much.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with all stuff
Let's
I
talk
get.
about that for a minute.
Yeah, we're just supposed to volunteer, you know, come in every day.
Well, I think not only us being on the receiving end, but teaching children the value of showing appreciation. That's something almost like a lost art. Is we don't. I'm not saying we don't. There are children that need to be taught how not to only be on the receiving end, but also to be able to show your appreciation and gratitude.
Just a small token.
It's something small.
Well, and it goes back to praising too. You know, as teachers, one of the best things that you can do in your classroom is you can praise your kids. Praise for this, praise for this. So it's okay to praise teachers as well. You know, if we're tutoring and spending 3 days after school with the students every week, that's a lot of extra time that we're giving those kids.
Plus the money that we spend to the students. I mean, we give them pencils and all the other supplies, so it's not like it won't average out. I mean, one student give me a $25 gift card. Most likely I'm going to use that gift card in order to buy more supplies for the classroom.
Most likely. Most likely.
And I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. As teachers, I don't believe that we deserve a tip. But let's think about when you go eat at a restaurant. We are taught from a young age that you leave a tip for your waitress. And I'm not saying that we need that as teachers, but that's what we do when we go. We say thank you for serving us. We say thank you for taking care of us while we were there.
Right, human nature. Show appreciation and you do a better job. Just to be appreciated. That's a small gesture. Penniless.
A lot of teachers are starting to use social media in order to showcase some of the wonderful gifts that they received. Twitter and Instagram. So what are some of the great gifts that you received from students over the years?
Wow.
It's hard to narrow it down.
I know. I can't think of just one gift.
Well, just recently, I'll give you an example. There's this big, I don't know what you call it, but it plugs into the wall and it's made of glass. And it's like a decorative piece. It has this Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and Season Greetings. And one of my students got that, and I know that it's not very cheap. But it was a nice gift, and you can plug it in, and it lights up and blinks off. So I have it in my fireplace at home. So I really appreciate that. And then right turn around, and one of the students gave me a $25 gift card to Walmart. So my kids have been really generous this year. But I've been so nice.
I think my favorite gifts are, I love getting pictures. I love getting pictures from the kids because I can keep them up from year to year, and when I see them when they're in high school or have already graduated, I can look back and remember how it was when they were in 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
Isn't that something? I've been to a few basketball games recently, and I've seen students who are seniors, and I saw one student, he was on the basketball court, and he actually started smiling, and I said, that's the same 6th grade smile that I remember, even though he's in a 12th grade body at this point.
Didn't change much. I was thinking about a couple of gifts. I've been out of the classroom for a couple of years, but when I left the classroom, one of my students gave me a pink and green wreath. Pink and green are two important colors to me.
I wonder why.
Yes, yes. And then thinking about that gift, another student, this was several years ago, gave me a handmade blanket. And it was a pink blanket with my name and my sorority on the blanket. Yeah.
Very thoughtful. Can anybody top that?
No deal one.
That's not so competitive.
I do have a card that keeps coming into my mind that I got about 4 years ago from a parent, and it was just a Christmas card, and I opened it up and she wrote a nice little note in there, and it said, "You've truly been an angel that's touched our family." And something like that, I mean, I don't view myself that way, so when someone tells me something like that, it just made my day, and I mean, I still remember it now. And days whenever I get down, we all have our days when we get down about, oh, am I doing a good job? Am I doing everything I can do? You know, you think about things like that and you remember I'm touching people even when I don't realize it. Yeah, so
that's really powerful.
That was special to me. So even a note, even something like that is so meaningful.
One of my students, I forgot about this, he got me a gift. It says, "Don't be afraid to take a leap of faith." And it was actually about this radio show. And the note said, "Good luck on the radio show," because I told my students that we were going to do this show. And they've been very confident.
Oh, that was
really
cute.
excited for it. That was really, and it had a Kermit the Frog. You know, Kermit's very popular these days. But it was really cute.
So I have a question for everyone. Have you ever given your teacher a gift, and what was it?
You're asking us to go way back in the memory bank. I can barely remember what I wore last week.
Well, I know coming up I didn't have a whole lot, and I always wanted to give my teacher something. I always re-gifted them stuff. But I mean, I tried to give them a candle or something. I feel like I needed to give my teacher something.
You know, that really takes me back. I loved my teachers growing up. I had really great teachers. I never, ever, ever, ever gave one of them a gift, and now I feel bad about it.
We probably gave Valentine's Day cards. Sorry to cut you off. I remember giving Valentine's Day cards. You know, in elementary school, you switch with the students.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, you gave your teacher a Valentine's Day
Mhm.
kiss of candy.
I don't know, maybe being a military brat, traveling from place to place, learning, you know, I don't know, it was different for me. I didn't give my teachers gifts. I didn't know how long I was going to be there for one thing, but just not. I'm like you, Artis. I never thought about it. Marlow, sorry.
But I love my students. I mean, my teachers. I really did. I just didn't give them any gifts.
Well, did you ever see the other students giving your teachers gifts? And maybe it was just, maybe that was just the way, the climate of the school. It could be that. I know in my experience, there have been some schools that I go to where that is like the big project. There are other schools where you just don't see it. So it just depends on where you are at the time.
I gave them good behavior. I never misbehaved.
That's expected.
That was
But with all this,
Important gift.
That's expected.
I would take that from some of my students right now.
but with all this talk, I just wonder. I mean, I know it's personal preference, but should the school system put limitations on what parents can give?
I think that's silly. I mean, I don't think that they should ever be expected to give a gift or say, well, you have to give your teacher a gift. But on the other hand, I don't think that they should limit, you know, because a lot of parents, it makes them feel good. A lot of parents, that's what they want to do because they know that, you know, they'll come in and say, you don't get paid nearly enough of what you deserve. We appreciate you. We want to show you that. And it makes them feel like they're giving back. You know?
Well, let's talk about their concern. Their concern is that if you receive all these gifts, then you're then going to show favoritism, and you're going to, you know, have preferential grading for some students. Well, I certainly know that's not going to happen.
No, that's not the case.
You know, they're going to receive the grade that they receive. I've gotten gifts from F students and A students, and I treat everybody the same, whether you give me a gift or not. So don't be concerned about me showing favoritism just because you gave me a $25 gift card at Walmart. I'm worth much more than that.
Right. Well, and that goes back to teachers being treated as professionals. And I think that a lot of times we don't get that respect that we deserve as far as we are educated professionals. Just like if you have a lawyer, if you have a doctor, you might bring them a gift. It's completely professional, but you appreciate the effort that they give you every day. It doesn't mean anything like that, you know.
It's somebody's perspective, you know, oh, she's giving that person a gift, so it must mean something. Where it's just a token of appreciation. So.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, when I was talking about giving gifts, one thing that never goes out of style if you really want to be able to help teachers is to give supplies. We always need supplies, and that's why Donors Choose is such a great website, because it allows people, we talked about this on the TV show, and I always just want to get the word about Donors Choose, because individuals can go on and share in projects that they want to share in.
And they even said, too, Donors Choose, you know, kind of keeps a tally of what teachers are requesting. And from October 2013 to this year, October 2014, you're laughing at me with my statistics. Over.
It never fails.
Dia is always on it.
Always on it. She's so prepared. She
It's the
always has
numbers
the number thing. I
person.
mean, just that one time she messed up number. Other than that,
Let's
she's
not talk about that. But going back to what I was saying, the teachers requested over 3,000 pieces of supplies. You know, and if you go further down, 50 to 60% of it is books, and I know at our school we could use books, and then the other part was toys and games. So maybe for the elementary school.
But talking about the supplies, I've noticed this year, and I don't know if any of you guys noticed it too, but the kids are not coming to school with as much, and so as a teacher, we carry that. You know, after the first day, we go home and we say, well, I only had 15 kids come with paper and pencil. I need to make up the difference, and we do. So did anybody else see that? And
I noticed that quite a bit, because normally where it's maybe April, May, kids are running out of supplies, it's October.
Right.
And some of the kids don't have the supplies that they
Right.
need. And you just cannot sit in my room and not do anything just because you don't have a pencil. I have to find your pencil. I have to supply it for you.
right, because that shouldn't be the issue.
That can't be the issue.
You not doing the work shouldn't be because of materials.
Do
But
you
some
think-
teachers have that issue in terms of, if you don't have a pencil, they'll let you sit there and it burns me up.
I think sometimes maybe it's the technology part. I don't know, there's more emphasis on having a phone as opposed to having a pencil. So that might be a part of why they're not coming equipped with the pencil and paper as before.
Sometimes
It
we
was-
don't have our priorities in order.
Well, that's true too,
Because why are
but
people being pepper sprayed at Cross Creek over shoes?
That's a whole nother issue.
It is, but I'm just saying, we know that's still, it's a major concern for some people, and I'm one of those people.
Do you all put those supplies on your wish list? You know how teachers have the wish list at the beginning of the year and hold it throughout the year? You all still do that?
I still make a wish list and I put it out to my students. But I have a lot of students who come and say, well, my mom doesn't get paid until this time. And that's an issue. And then even after that, after payday, they still don't have the stuff, and so I end up providing it. But that's not a battle I fight. It's just something I do.
Right. And the reason that we still have this issue is because in addition to the supplies, we have to pay for field trips and pay for things for the sports team, for the basketball shoes, or pay things for, you know, sometimes it's expensive to be a student. And you have 2 or 3 kids, it's not easy. So my heart goes out to some of these parents because they do try, but they might not just have the money.
and that's a
Right.
case of us knowing the children and knowing where they come from. And sometimes if you know that there's a parent with 2 or 3 children, then that's, to me, should be, one of our focuses where I say, okay, well, I won't concentrate so much on the pencil because I know his situation. So it's so important to know your children, the students that we serve, so that we can accommodate them and not let that be a hindrance to their learning.
Right.
I have to say this because, one of the big things in our show is we're always trying to give advice and stuff to the teachers.
Right.
As your custodians cleaning the halls, you can ask the custodians to collect pens and pencils and give them to you so that, let's say you don't have them, then you have what the custodian has given to you. You can give them out to the kids. I read that one time. That's very
And I've seen that. I've seen
Yeah.
that.
But sometimes it bothers me when the students say, I don't have a pencil, and I look down right beside the student and there's a pencil on the floor. Look around, you can find the items you need.
Right beside their new shoes,
Right
their Jordans. There's a pencil laying on the floor.
That's happened more times than I care to count.
Do you think that technology, though, has some type of influence on them not stressing pencils and paper so much? Is saying I can use my phone to take notes.
I think it's a lack of priority. I don't think it's because of technology. I think what they hold as important, for a lot of them, their education is not at the top of that list. And honestly, I think it has a lot to do with parenting. Parents have to show them what's important.
It also goes back to our society. What does our society value? And education is not valued across the board by our society.
And also responsibility, because you can call some of these parents and they say, well, I bought all the supplies, I don't know why he's not taking them to school, or he loses them. So that's another thing, you know, it's not always the parents, sometimes it's just responsibility.
I've got a question for you, Dia. I heard this, I had one of my colleagues, she moved from middle school and she went to high school. And I said, what is the biggest difference between middle school and high school? And she said the students never ask for pencils. Is it true that the students always have their materials when they're in high school?
That is so not true. And I know when I was actually in the classroom, my students didn't come prepared, but if they needed something, they had to give me some collateral. I was not giving them a pen or a pencil. You can give me your watch, you can give me your key, you can give me your phone. Make sure you give it to me at the end of class so you can get your item back.
And you know, it happened at my school one time, but one of the students forgot to get his key, and his mom was so upset because when he got home, because she was like working really late, and the boy could not get in. And the teacher got in big trouble.
He was in Dia's class.
Just don't take easy, that's all. Excuse me.
That's a good point.
I think there should be an accountability though, because they cost money.
Yeah.
Pencils add up, papers add up, paper does, so.
But you know, we have colored pencils and markers and things like that in the classroom. So when they don't have a pencil, if I don't have one right on hand, I say, well, there's a colored pencil, well, there's a marker.
I've seen teachers say use the crayons.
Whatever it is to get the job done.
You can't go with the crayon?
You can't get with the crayon.
I'm sorry. Then they write
Not
all over
yellow.
the lines and.
Maybe black or blue.
It's just the thickness of the crayon.
Yes, it
Not-
is. Yes,
I understand.
I know. I just can't do the
I
crayon.
thought you used to work in elementary school.
I did.
How do you not like
But-
crayons?
Because that's elementary school. I'm in middle school. I moved up. Hello? I'll be glad for them to have a crayon in elementary school, but when you grow up, you need to put away some childish things.
Actually, how does it work in elementary school? I mean, they have all those cubbies and all the stuff that's there. See, my kids, they go from classroom to classroom to classroom at the middle school level. I mean, are they still disorganized in elementary when everything's in one place?
I see it more now that I'm in 5th grade because we do block. So they are going from classroom to classroom. So their cubby is sort of like their locker. We don't let them go back once they're with us. So I just tell them, find one, find a pencil. And I have a basket by my door, but they have to trade an unsharpened one for a sharpened one. And then if they don't have an unsharpened one, then they just have to give me, I'm kind of like Dia, give me something. And we use PBIS. So a lot of times if they give me one of their...
what that is.
The positive behavior intervention system, which is where they get points or tickets for when they do a good job, and we try to focus on the positive behaviors. So whenever they have to trade in a ticket for their pencil, then they get it back, because if you brought me my pencil back, then you're going to get it back. But if they don't, then
You lost one of your tickets.
yeah. And I know now technically you're not supposed to take one, but I'm not taking it. I'm borrowing it. And they're borrowing something from me, and then it's just a trade. So, yeah.
So who kind of polices that whole PBIS at your school? Is every teacher responsible?
There's a team also.
Yeah, we have a team. I'm the rewards manager at my school, and we do a reward every 9 weeks. We don't do a store. We just do a goal, and if they meet that goal, then they get to come to the reward at the end of the 9 weeks.
So what is like a realistic goal for 9 weeks for tickets?
Well, we do 5 tickets a day max, and they can get, each teacher has 10 extra tickets that they can give out as they see fit. And then in the hallways, there's unlimited that they can get from guidance counselors in the hallways or resource teachers. So they have more opportunities. But our goal this 9 weeks is 150
Okay.
Are your
tickets.
teachers consistent with that? Because I'm not going to say my school, but I see sometimes an inconsistency.
I've
Just
seen that
because of
happen
the
before, the
busyness.
inconsistency.
Yeah, just because of all the things that you have to do and to stop and make sure you have tickets to reward. Are they consistent?
From what I can see, you know, I'm on the outside and they know I'm the rewards manager. So I think, you know, from what I can see, everybody seems to be very consistent with it, and everybody
But the
keeps
whole
track
staff
of
went
their...
through a training together.
Yeah, we
They were
all
on the
went through
same
a
page.
training, and they love it because it's something that they can remind their kids, you know, you're having a rough day, don't you want to go to that dance at the end of the 9 weeks or the ice cream party? And it's just something that kind of helps
So
them.
it seems like good reward.
Yeah.
See, that's why you can't get a Christmas present, because they think that they're going to exchange a Christmas present for a free PBIS ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Is that working in the middle school?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what happened. We have not done PBIS in several years, but I used to work in the office. And I guess I was the rewards manager in that if you had so many tickets, you could get a dress down day. We're a uniform school. And this one boy, I'm not going to call his name, this boy had a non-uniform day every single week. It's because his teacher, she just kept giving it. And I don't think he was really just that outstanding. So I don't think it was cross board. Some kids on some teams never got a non-uniform day, whereas this boy got one every single week. So I think it's where the training for the whole staff comes in, and this is the expectation for everybody. And I like also having a ticket limit for the day.
And you said something important. Expectation from everybody.
The
I
whole
think
staff.
the cafeteria, the custodians, everybody has to be a part of it. Because I don't know, middle school seems to have a different mentality of, I don't need that, I can get my own.
Right, and I had to learn that myself. I worked in the office, and there was one student, he had a lot of behavior issues, but when he came to the office, there was no issue between he and I. And so I gave him a non-uniform day, think it was no big deal. And it caused a stink because the teacher thought it wasn't fair because he was always misbehaving. And so and my principal said something to me at the time, and I was a little bit offended, but when I thought about it, it's about being consistent and sending the universal message that if you behave like this is what you receive, as opposed to behave like this with this gentleman or that lady and you'll receive something.
But Marlow, I do agree with you, because what I said about knowing your population, sometimes it takes that one positive to turn that student around. Just somebody to say, I see the good things that you're doing. I know that there are 10 other things that you're not doing, but let me praise you and let me give you something
and you
for
know
the one
what?
thing.
This boy had
I agree with that.
6 hearings, administrative hearings on that particular year. And now he's in 11th grade. He's one of the top cross-country track people in the state.
And that was you.
Wow.
That was all you.
And I did believe in him, and I'm so glad. I saw him at the game the other day, and he just started smiling. I see his mother, and you know, sometimes I think you just have to pat people on the back, and you can't beat a child down even if they make a lot of mistakes.
There's always an exception. There's always an exception, but there goes again, knowing who we serve.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And on the other end of that, you know, I think our good kids sometimes, not that they get pushed aside, but, you know, a lot of times if we have behaviors that we're dealing with, a lot of times our good kids are just expected, we know you're going to be good, just go do what you need to do. And so it's nice to have an opportunity to tell them, good job, and thank you for coming in every day and doing, even though it is the expectation, we realize that you're following that expectation, that you're doing a good job.
I call those kids my high rollers, and you always have to make sure that the high rollers don't feel left out.
That's right.
Just because they're doing the right thing, those other students should not monopolize your time and your energy.
Absolutely. I agree totally with that. And that goes along with our scores too. There's a big push this year for our 4s and 5s, because we're concentrating so much on our bubble students and our lower end students that we are missing some things with our high students.
That was an issue at my
across.
school. We were talking, oh, we're so low, so low, so low. And I said, let's be very clear. No matter how low your scores are at your school, there's always going to be some kids who are performing at or above grade level, and you cannot leave those students out. Unless you're at 0% and nobody passed, and that's never going to happen. Well, you know what? I can't believe that was already about 20 minutes. So just imagine how it's going to be once we get our full hour. I cannot wait. We can talk about anything we want to.
It's been fun.
Yes, and we do appreciate it. Everybody, please make sure you tune into iTEACH Tar Heel Teachers on January the 9th, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We will all be here, and we cannot wait.
Can't wait.
Wrote something about it one hit. There you go.
Cue the promo.